A very good evening, Zimbabwe. This is LiveTalk, the Women's Roundtable, coming to you from here in Washington on this Thursday, July the 23rd, 2020. I am Sithandegile Mhlanga.
And I'm Praxidis Jeremiah.
Yes, and today on the Women's Roundtable, we'll be discussing the rising cases, the rising infections of COVID-19 globally and locally. We'll also be looking at issues affecting women during this lockdown and the COVID-19 pandemic. And as we are talking, we realize that the cases so far worldwide were 15,265,081 and 624,370 deaths worldwide. That is according to the Johns Hopkins University. And the leading country in all this is the US, where we are, where the number is almost 4 million now for the infections, which is 3,973,370. And the deaths here in the US are 143,224. PJ.
Tokugamuchirai muchirongwa chedu chanhasi apo tiri kukurukura nezve COVID-19 ichi chirwere chatakashira pasi rose. Izvozvi muZimbabwe patova nezviuru zvinodarika zviviri 2034 yevanhu vakawanikwa vakaitwa matesti vakawanikwa vaine COVID-19 uye uwandu huri kuramba huchikwira zuva nezuva. Kotiwo pasi rose panoto nezviuru mamiliyoni chaiwo anodarika 15.4 million kune avo vawanikwa vaine denda iri kana kuti vakatesta positive. Paine vamwewo vakazopona zvavo. Uwandu hwakawanda huri muno muAmerica kwatiri kuno. Uyewo kuZimbabwe vatestwa pari zvino vanotodarika zviuru mazana 101 100,000 zvinodarika 100,000. Saka ndozvatinenge tichikurukura nezvazvo nhasi uno. Tine vanyarikani vedu vatinavo vachange vachitibatsira kunyanya kuSouth Africa nemuAmerica ndimo matikaramba takatarisa nekuti uwandu hwacho ndo huri kuramba huchikwira naiko kuZimbabwe zvinhu zvadaikirawo nekuZimbabwe.
Yes, PJ, thank you for those. We realize that in Zimbabwe, as we are talking right now, there are 26 deaths have been recorded so far, and the cases are 2,034. The recovery is 510, which means the active cases are 1,494. And we have here Bulawayo leading with the figures, 593, Harare, 579, and Mat South is also at the top there with 338, which most people are saying because of the returnees who are coming from South Africa. We note that sometimes the figures go up from the figures that are presented. The largest number will be from South Africa, but of late, the local cases have been spiking too, not just the returnees. If we look at what happened yesterday, there were 214 cases that tested positive. And out of these, South Africa counted for 123, Zambia 1, and the local cases were more, which shows that local cases are also on the rise. People are now infecting each other. It's not because someone is coming from South Africa, someone is coming from overseas. That means the issue now, the problem is at home. Yebo ke kulabo abasanda ukusixhuma kathesi lamhlanje ke sicubungula udaba lolu lwe-coronavirus, inamba elokhu eziqonga. Sikhangela njalo lokukhathaza abesifazana ngalesi sikhathi. Kumbe okubaqinisayo ukuthi kuyini labantwana. siyabona njalo ukuthi eleZimbabwe sokubhubhe abantu abangama-26 i-26 lokho umkhuhlane lo waqalisayo ababulawa yiyo i-COVID-19 kodwa inkulungwane ezimbili zilokhu ziwuthelele umkhuhlane lama-34 2034 kodwa bakhona ke asabaphepha kuwo abangama-510 okuthi ukuthi ke abawutheleyo kathesi sibalutshwana nxa sesikhupha inombolo yalabo asebaphephile lalabo asebatshonayo njalo mihla ngamalanga inani leli liyakhwela sibonile njalo izolo bahloliwe kwaba lamakhulu 214 amakhulu 2 ke alechumi lane abantu abatholakale belomkhuhlane lo abanye bevele South Africa oyedwa vele Zambia abanye bevele bengabakhonapho elizweni ngakho ke abezempilakahle lokho ke lugatsha lukahulumende lwezempilakahle belikhupha la amanani lalo luyatsho ukuthi liyabadinga labo abangabe bethelela abanye bazakala abanye abazakali ngakho ke bathi bakhangelisisa ukuthi kuhamba njani ukwenzela ukuthi lo phela oke wathintana lomuntu olegcikwane leli laye ahlolwe ukwenzela ukuthi engatheleli abanye yikho ke lokhu ke sikucubungulayo namhlanje njengoba kuluhlelo labesifazana sikhangela futhi ukuthi kuyini abakwenzayo kodwa mlaleli awenelisi ukungena kuleli uhlelo namhlanje ngoba sisezindlini zethu ngakho awunyeke wacha ucingo ungene ngenxa sebenza ezindlini ngenxa ye-COVID-19 le njalo uhlelo lolu lu-pre-recorded okuthi ukuthi silenze ngaphambilini kokuba luvele emoyeni okungathi ukuthi amanani lawa kungenzeka ukuthi abe sekhuphukile yikho ke esikukhangelayo njalo siyezwa ukuthi silomhlonishwa wethu wakuqala sikhuluma nje silomhlonishwa wethu unkosazana Nomsanekevana owesiphathamandla senhlanganiso ye-Mopane Foundation siyakwamukela kuhlelo.
Mina ibizo lami nguNomsanekevani inhlanganiso yethu i-Mopane Foundation International sikhangela abantwana abasemakhaya abazintandane sibancedisa ngezifundo zabo okwakhathesi since uqale i-COVID yena le besivele silohlelo lokuthatha abanye abantwana abase-secondary school siyobahlalisa koBulawayo of which into yakhona igcine iphumelele bamuvile ngeTuesday last week bafike koBulawayo sizama ukuthi sibafundise behlala koBulawayo into yayivele ikhona before kufika i-COVID yena le into yayivele ihleliwe so kufanele ukuthi ngabe basesikoleni ngabe bafike ngoMay but baze size sakwanisa ukubaletha khathesi last week bazofunda bekoBulawayo okwakhathesi sesikhangele ukuthi sibancedisa ukufunda bekhona ngalesi besendlini njengabantwana bonke
lalo solungenela kulolu hlelo ungathi kuzaqhubeka kanjani siyabona ukuthi izikolo zisavaliwe kwesikhatshana kodwa kuvulelwe labo ababhala amazamanishini ngakho kuliphatha njani lokho ukuthi
izikolo zivaliwe khathesi abantwana esilabo nguform 1 lo form 2 lo form 3 oyi-1 wabo uyaqala eNAST so bonke abantwana esilabo okwakhathesi bonke abafundi basekhaya bahleli endlini kunzima khona asikwazi ukuthi bazokhetshapha njani ngazo zonke izinto zenezi ngoba sebele 3 months bengafundi okungangokuthi siyakwazi ukuthi wonke umuntu uyakwazi ukuthi umntwana naye engahlala i-weekend yonke engafundanga usiyafika iMonday uyabe seqala ukukhohlwa laba sebehleli isikhathi eside bengafundi so sizozama ngoba bakhona beqala kungathi bayafundisa kuleli veki ukuthi lathi sesibafundisa besendlini khonapha befundiswa ngabantu be-team yethu ngoba khona lokhu ukuthi i-lockdown asikwazi ukuletha abanye abantu from ngaphandle bazobancedisa ukubafundisa so sizabe sizama ngabona abasethimini esilabo thina i-team yethu ilama-professional teachers angu-3 then kube sokusiba lo ubaba obalokhu uzongiyohlala labantwana laye ungu-teacher by profession so sicabanga ukuthi bonabo bengu-3 bazoncedisana bafundisa abantwana.
Is what you have just said in English. What exactly is your organization doing and how far are you with the project now and how is it affected by the COVID-19 pandemic?
We support orphan children in rural Zimbabwe with school necessities. So we pay school fees, buy uniforms, and just basic stationery. Towards this, we're planning on moving some of the kids that are doing okay to so that they're in secondary school, so that we can support them from the city, so that they access more more resources, like we have got more access to resources, like educational resources, than they can have in rural Zimbabwe, so that they can excel in their studies. So when this was started happening, it was already in the plan that they were meant to move in May, but the fact that the lockdown happened and everything affected everything that we do, and our kids as well are not at school, they're at home like any other kids that are in Zimbabwe and across the globe. So what has happened so far, we've managed to move them so far, the 12, they are in Bulawayo right now. They moved in last week on Tuesday. So now they live in Bulawayo. So now we're looking at getting resources for them so that we can homeschool them like all the kids that are being schooled. They've secured their secondary school places, and the one that is going to NAST is secured his place. But at the moment, they are in Form 2, they're in Form 1, Form 2, and Form 3, which means all of them, they're at home. They can't go to school because they're not in grade 7, that they'll be starting anytime soon. So we don't know what's going to happen, but we'll try to homeschool them like any other kid at the moment.
That was Nomsane Gevana of the Mopane Foundation. Over to you, PJ.
Zvakanaka, ndinotenda Asta. Tine munyarikani wedu watinaye pachirongwa nhasi unoyu, Mai Edith Chinembiri, vanova ivo vanoshanda zveutano mune hwekoti. Mai Chinembiri, tinoziva kuti muno muAmerica mamuri pamwe chete nekuSouth Africa nekuZimbabwe mune mhuri. Mungatitsanangurirawo here maonero enyu pamusoro pedenda iri recoronavirus?
Madita PJ, denda recoronavirus riri kutotyisa munhu wese. Muno muAmerica manhamba ari kuramba achingokwira edenda irori. Asi tinoda kutenda hedu Mwari kuti muno muAmerica wakamboti gamuchidzawo kastimulus cheki kekuti tione kutenga chekudya. Zvino kana taakuzotarisa kuna Zimbabwe neSouth Africa, zvinobva zvanyanya kuoma, denda iri riri kukwira zvakanyanya kuSouth Africa nekuZimbabwe, zvichinyanya kuzonesa pakuti vanhu madyi chekudya. Vanobva vashaya kuti totangira papi. Vazhinji vanowana chekudya nekutengesa zvirimwa zvavanorima. Zvino kuti vachizokwanisa kusatengesa ikoko, chekudya chabva chashayika. Denda riri kukwira, rinotoda mishonga, rinotoda kubatsirwa vanhu zvakanyanya kuti vaone chekudya. Ndiwo maonero wangu, Mazvita.
Pane vari kuSouth Africa vanositumira zvinhu kumusha, vari kusangana nedambudziko here iroro rekuti vange vachitumidzira mari kana magrosari?
Vari kusangana nedambudziko iroro zvakanyanya, nekuti mabhazi anositakura zvekudya vachikrosa nazvo kuenda kuZimbabwe akavharwa, bhodha rakavhara. Kuti utumire kamari kana kubva kunoku kuti aende kunotora mutauni, zviri kubva zvanetsa. Kufamba kwacho havasi kubvumidzwa kufamba, saka zvaita dambudziko rakanyanya kufamba nedenda iri. Iye zvino kuri kuzwa kuita curfew 6 to 6. Saka rabva tashaya kuti toyamura sei kana vari kumusha.
Kune avo vari kufirwa kuSouth Africa, mambonzwawo here dambudziko ririko rekuendesa vanenge vafi kuZimbabwe, kuti avo vanenge vachiperekedza mufi vanonzi ngavadzokerere pabhodha?
Ndakamboinzwawo nditori nowe ukama wepadhuze vasina kukwanisa kucrossa bhodha nenyaya yekuti bhodha rakavharwa. Asi ivo vanga vasina mufi zvavo, vanga vafirwa namai vavo kumusha kuti vana vacrosse manje kuenda kunochema amai vavo nekunovaviga zvakakundikana. Asi kutaura chokwadi zvekuti vari kufamba nemutumbi, ndakangoda kunzwa kuti havasi kubvumidzwa, vanongobvumidza nofunga dhiraivha nemunhu wani chete vari kufamba nemutumbi. Idambudziko chairo nekuti vari kuti mabhodha havasi kuda kuti vanhu vacrosse nenyaya yepandemic iyo yedenda iroro.
Vachinge vasvika kuZimbabwe, vamwe vacho hanzi vari kubva vaiswa mumakwarantine.
Ichokwadi ndakazvinzwa zvakanyanyisa. Saka vari kutongopa ruzivo kune vanhu kuti regai garai kwamuri ikoko, musatombouye nekuti hazvina zvazvinobatsira, munosvika munovharirwa 14 days, dzimwe 7 days mozoita maakumba, ende uchitestwa kunodiwa mari yekutestiswa. Vanoti kunotestwa zvemahara zvisina mari inobviswa kwehurumende kwanyanya kuzarisa vanhu, ende denda racho riri kubatwa zvakanyanya ikoko. Saka vanhu vanobva vatya kuti vanotestwa ikoko, voenda kunobviswa mari kune vanhu vashoma, mari dzacho dzichibva dzashayika futi.
Zvakangoma. Asi mabharani mukuru kana kuti nditi PM Secretary weMinistry of Information vaNiki Mangwana vakataurwa navo neStudio 7 vachitaura ivo kuti vanobva kunze kwenyika sekunana America naCanada nana England, nyika dzakakwirira dzakabudirira, vanhu vanokwanisa kunge vatestwa, ngavatestwe vachiri kunyika dzavo idzodzo vasati vauya kuZimbabwe. Vachinge vauya muZimbabwe, pane mukanawo zvekare wekuti vanhu vange vachipa certificate yavo iyoyo yekutestwa kwavakaitwa, kungava kuAmerica kana kuCanada, vobva vapa vekunhandare yendege kuti vakatestwa. Vanobva vatestwawo zvekare, vobhadhariswa $65, vobva vaitwa rapid test ipapo inokwanisa kubuda mumazuva mashomanana akaita se5 days kusvika ku14 days. Unogara muhotera uchizvibhadharira. Kana matesti, maresults etest aya achinge auya, wakagara muhotera usingaende kumakwarantine centers, nekuti vanhu vazhinji vave kutyira kuti vari kunzi vaakutyira kuti kumakwarantine centers ikoko kune avo vanenge vasingakwanisi kubhadhara $65 yekuti vatestwe nekukasika, vanobva vagariswako kwenguva yakati rebei. Saka kana usingade kuenda kumakwarantine centers ikoko, vaMangwana vanoti unokwanisa kuenda kunogara muhotera kwemazuva mashomanana, angava 8 days kana kusvika 14 days. Wochizonopedzisa quarantine yako wava kumba kana wanzi uri negative. Saka vanhu vazhinji I think vakutotyira kana kuenda kumba vachiti vanosvikokandwa mumakwarantine centers iwayo. Saka ndangoti tingojekeserana nevateereri kuti mukana uripo wekuti uchinge watestwa kunyika yawabva, wosvika wotestwazve, wobhadhara $65 yako, woenda mukwarantine wonozvibhadharira muhotera. Zvinokwanisika kuitika izvozvo. Kana dai uchida kuenda kurufu, ungazosvika hako vachinge vavigwa mudikani wako munenge marasikirwa naye mumhuri yenyu. Asi vanoti izvo kuti uwane closure unokwanisa kuenda, asi wabva watestwa kumusha kwako kwauri kushandira ikoko. Ms. Nomsa, do you realize that people can actually go home and not be put in quarantine centers? Is that information widespread in the UK?
Not that I know of. I know that people have to go into quarantine when they arrive. Yes, I've heard that they will have to stay in a quarantine for a certain period. Then they go to quarantine hotels, which is, I still don't understand. How can somebody go to Zimbabwe knowingly that they are going to a quarantine center, then after that they go to another and pay for some hotels to stay in a quarantine center again?
No, you don't have to go. Mr. Mangwana says you don't have to go to quarantine centers, but you can go and pay for yourself in a hotel and self-isolate for at least 8 to 14 days, and then you are released to go home.
So is there any guarantee that somebody will go into those hotels, or are they manned in a way that they will be knowingly, there will be evidence that that person is in a hotel?
Yeah, you have to pay for yourself in the hotel. That's
yeah,
what
I understand. I understand that bit, but what I don't understand is that security proof that those people are really going into those quarantine centers, or is it just people are going there and pay whatever they're meant to pay and just get out of the place?
Sorry, please. Ndine wakabva kunoku kuAmerica. Ndingatotaura nemazita munotovaziva TPJ ana mai chikoro nababa chikoro. Wakasvika kuvharirwa kuIngland for 2 months. Inyaya yekuti kwanga kusina ndege dzekukwira. Vazosimuka musi wa12 June. Wakasvika wakwarantiwa wakaenda kuBronte Hotel for 8 days. Isolation yanga iri serious yekuti haizobuda padate just for a few, less than an hour, if I remember rightly, then go back inside. Havasaigona kubuda kuenda outside the hotel for 8 days. Ndobva vazoteswa futi, ndobva vazochienda munopedzisa dzimwe, I don't know, I think 7 days kumba. Saka zvakati vatokumba futi vakazoenda futi kunoteswa futi. Vachibvisa $65 UI, which was quite heavy for them because they don't live here kuAmerica zvachose vanogara kumusha ikoko, saka mari dzacho. Asi zvakatoitika, this is first hand information handitori kukupai.
So it's actually possible that people can actually go and test there. But ivo vanozo panenge paine mapurisa here vanenge vakavachengetedza kuti vasabude mumahotel rooms kuBronte Hotel iko.
Hanzi kukangobata door kuti utry kurivhura alamu inobva yarira kuti section. Haugoni kubuda zvachose for 8 days havana kubuda panze. Vaibuda padeke rehotel chete. Vaitozoya kuvhurirwa futi kuti chibudai chidzokerai, and that's it, once a day. I think for an hour or for less than an hour.
So there you are, Nomsa. There is a security. I think it's the liars with the hotel security so that those people don't go out of their isolation rooms.
I think people need to understand how deadly this thing is. And I think when we're coming to the history of it, anyway, whatever is known of it, it doesn't, if you think, okay, they are there in 8 days and they just contracted it today, by the time they get out of the hotel, the symptoms won't be showing. Because you get tested when you go in, then after 8 days you get out. You get out, what happens? Do they test you before you get out, or do they test you after you are out? So if they are testing you when you are already out, that means
that's what
you have already spreading it. And another thing is Zimbabwe. You can't say in Zimbabwe there is security that the alarms go off. Zimbabwe, you know that money can disappear in thin air. So what about somebody paying their 7 days or 8 days and just getting out of it? We've heard that there are some people who've ran away out of those centers. So if people can manage to run away out of those centers, so how many have have really come out and they never even mentioned that they came out of it.
Yeah, that's an issue right there. But from the official side, they are saying they monitor and they liaise with the hotels for security reasons. But in as far as people running away from those centers, it's also possible. And we've heard stories that some people have run away from even the government monitored isolation centers or quarantine centers. Yes, it's possible. But I suppose to a certain extent, the government is trying by all means, but people, being people, they bribe themselves out of those quarantine centers.
That's very interesting news coming every day. I guess self-monitoring and discipline is important there.
Yeah, health is important.
As we also heard ZANU-PF official Obet Mbofu saying that he's also in self-quarantine in Inyati. So after a trip to Tanzania, so that means he's also being responsible, if it's true. Lapho ke besicubungula udaba lokuthi abantu abavela kwamanye amazwe baya ngaphi nxa bengahlolwa igcikwane. Ngabona iningi liyananzelela ukuthi nxa uvela kwamanye amazwe kumele uhlale endaweni lapho kulondolozwa khona abantu besahlolisiswa leli gcikwane ukuthi balalo kumbe hayi, okuthiwa ngama-quarantine centers, lapho abanye ababaleka khona. Kuthiwa nxa ule mali yakho ungatshona esambeni uhlawule ukuthi uhlale eweteleni okwensukwana lapha abaza kuhlola khona njalo ukuthi legcikwane. Ngakho ke besixoxa lapho ukuthi kambe abantu balandela yini iziqondiso kumbe bakhona abayenza inkohlakalo ukuthi bephume kulezi ndawo. Kodwa besinanzelela lapho ukuthi okuqakathekileyo khona ukuthi umuntu laye azeluse abone ukuthi kathelela abanye, ngoba sesizwile abanye ababaleka kuma-quarantine center befike bethelele abanye emakhaya emzini yabo, kumbe lalabo abanye kuthiwa bathumeza impahla evela kwele South Africa beyifake mbele esidumbu kumbe nani. Lapho-ke sizazama ukuthola umbono wengcwethi ezicubungulayo-ke ezempilakahle ukuthi zisitshele ukuthi kambe impahla lezi zingabe sezibonakele yini kumbe ziyahlanzeka ukuthi abantu bengatholi leli gcikwane. Yes, coming back to you, Ms. Negevan, you have had the chance to visit the homes of these children whom you are looking after. What exactly is there? How are the parents coping? And what are the difficulties they say they are facing, especially during this lockdown? Most of them.
Everybody else, not just the parents of the kids that we support at the minute in Zimbabwe. I think the biggest challenge everybody is having is food. Most people in Zimbabwe, they live on, I would say they live on just to be self-employed, but everybody is hustling. So hustling is just maybe buying something or going to sell it to somebody else. But now the movement is restricted. Even if, let's say, somebody from rural areas, they've got meal that they want to go and sell in Bulawayo, or even something like peanuts. But now they can't. And the transport system in Zimbabwe, is very restricted. Why this is restricted? The fares are just ridiculously overinflated. Right, like last week, we got our kids to come to Bulawayo. They came with their guardians because we couldn't send our people to go and fetch them. It was going to be too costly. But on the other side, we wanted the parents to come and then we do the legal side of things. So what happened was we had to get all the legal guardians to come with the kids. So we had 12 legal guardians coming to Bulawayo. The one from Kai, the transport is 250 rands each person. So we had 4 kids coming from Kai, so that means we've got 4 legal guardians. Then we had a head teacher coming with them. So everything is just so expensive. If we say, okay, come, but we're not paying for it, they're not going to come. And that means we couldn't get the kids because the kids, we needed them there. Then you have to pay back. Then you are coming to Plawayo. Still, everybody is meant to be sat at home and doing nothing. They need to eat. And most people right now, they are living on donations, which is not sustainable. It's just, I don't know. It's just too much for everybody. Most people are not working. They are sat at home and doing nothing, but they still need to eat. Other than that, while is this thing is going to kill so many people are going to be killed by hunger.
So how are they surviving? You have like 24 people, each student with their guardian, staying at one place, and having to supply them with food and board.
No, the parents were coming to sign just the consent forms and stuff like that, and they had to go back. We have got 12 people living with us, with the house parents at the moment and the guardian boy. So in the house, we have got 15 people.
Okay, so as Mopani Foundation, you actually have a house in Bulawayo?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I've also heard in the Matabeleland South area, where that region is actually bordering with South Africa and Botswana, there are some border jumpers that are coming through the illegal entry points. And those are the people that are suspected to be bringing in the COVID-19 from South Africa and from Botswana. Have you heard any of those stories? And when they're coming into the villages, in the rural areas, their families are actually hiding them so that they don't go to these quarantine centers and they are not tested. Have you heard of those stories?
Yes, I have heard of those stories and more. They are okay. Let's say I'm a parent. My daughter or my son is suffering in South Africa, and they manage eventually to jump the border and come back home. Yes, I'll hide them. That doesn't need anybody to say this is rocket science. That's exactly what any parent will do. And when we're looking at all these photos that we see from these quarantine centers, you'll be thinking, I'm just sending my son or my daughter there to die. Yes, and they are border jumpers both ways, because we've seen as well on the news, which is like on the news, that there are some people who come to Zimbabwe to buy tobacco and jump the border again and go and sell in South Africa. So both ways, I think there is something with the Zimbabwean border. Then we've got these people that are on trucks going to Zimbabwe and buying stuff and bringing to sell in Zimbabwe. Same story again. Those people are carrying COVID both ways. Then we've got everybody else who doesn't even practice social distancing. Guys, Tina, we've seen this. We've seen people dying. Even now, sometimes you think, no, I can't even go to work. While at least we've got those resources. Then you're thinking about Zimbabwe. If you get sick in Zimbabwe, what are you going to do? You have got very limited hospitals that can take much capacity. Tina, we've got all the capacity that we needed that we couldn't even utilize. But in Zimbabwe, they don't have those things. I think what is really missing right now in Zimbabwe, it's just about teaching people about this thing, because this thing is real. I think the government between South Africa and Zimbabwe, they need to do something. Trucks are going through Zimbabwe, going to other countries. And there is no way that somebody can say those things when they are going. It's proof that there is only one person, there is a driver there, or a driver, two drivers that are swapping when they are tired. We probably have got more staff and more people in those trucks than that are expected. But because it's about money between both countries, really, not Zimbabwe only. In South Africa, I've lived in South Africa, I know how this story goes. So we have said we have got challenges. We can blame those border jumpers. Yes, they are to blame, but there are so many. I think there are so many forces at play that can be blamed on this one. And we realize by that time it was going to be too late.
So, yeah, this thing is really...
coming back to you, what can you say about the lockdown and life there in the UK compared to what you have seen back home? How is everything going on there, and what do you think are the good things that are going on that can also be done at home? Looking at the schools, looking at how people leave their houses, going to the supermarkets, the transport system, and so forth. Of course, we are aware that most citizens are usually not happy with the way their presidents or prime ministers are handling this issue. But how is the situation there, if you can just compare it to Zimbabwe?
Here at the moment, okay, they've relaxed most things. I think the pubs opened last week, but most people are still scared. When they said lockdown here, it was like a proper lockdown, and people were really, it just got into them that this thing is deadly. And not paying, you could just go even in the street like us who are driving. You will drive and you'll be seeing just a few cars. There was no traffic. There was nothing. And when it comes to supermarket, they are very strict. They are even now. You can find a queue in the supermarket, and we've got so many supermarkets like me where I am. Within a 5 mile radius, I've got how many? About 3 or 4 big supermarkets. I'm not talking about these little things. I'm talking like the usually, well, some of them used to be 24 hours, but they stopped it because of this COVID thing. But now they are relaxed, where people are starting to get out and everything like that. But still, well, we can't compare here with Zimbabwe because we've got the resources. We've got everything that we need. If they want to stop it now, they stop it now, and people listen.
Ungasichasisela njalo ke ngamafitshane ukuthi khona ngapho ngesintu ukuthi khona ngapho ke kwele Bhilitani kunjani ukuhlala ezindlini abantu bevalelwe ukuthi kungamemetheki igcikwane le coronavirus sesiqhathanisa lekhaya?
Lapha ngesikhathi kuthiwa lockdown, abantu bahlala endlini. Abantu bahlala ezindlini. Even me, nge-choice, I had to sit down. I could still go to work, but ngahlala endlini about a month because ngalesikhathi umntana wami wayekhona endlini. Sengicabanga ukuthi uyahamba uyabuya layo. Abantu bahlala ezindlini. And okunye kuleli lizwe, abantu asihlali sibanengi njengaseZimbabwe. Ama-families mancane. Like mina, lo mntana wami besingu-2 endlini. So kokuthi bekuyi-lockdown yokuthi ithi siyi-2 or umuntu ohlala yedwa abezihlalele yedwa. That's how ilokhuza it is. And emashopu bekulama-line even lakhathesi kuyalokhuza ama-2 meters lana abhaliwe phansi ukuthi akwazi ukujampa na usufika ku-queue kumane usuyabhadala ethilini uyama 2 meters apart kuyabe kulalapho kufanele ume khona ubone ukudwetshwa ukuthi mana la, so awudluli khonapha lo phambi kwakho engakadluli wakwenye intokhuzeni wakwenye line. Ngapha balalela, ngapha bakubona ukufa. Even before ukufa, I think bakhuluma kakhulu ngakho ku-TV yonke indawo, even anything babebonisa ukuthi lento iyabulala, abantu babona ukuthi kuyafiwa. And khona ukuthi we've got information yokuthi even uyakwazi ungena efonini ubone ukuthi izolo kufa abantu abangaki. In 24 hours every day uyakwanisa ukucheck ukuthi sokutshona abantu abangaki. So abantu kwabethusa and abantu bethu bahlala phansi. So kurelaxiwe khathesi, but still abantu abakafiki kulesiya stage ukuthi babe comfortable ukuthi bahambe ngaphandle. Kakhulu bahamba ngaphandle sebeqala ukwenza amaphathinyana amancane, but akwakafiki kulento esiyibonayo. Imncwabo vele na kuthiwa ngumncwabo, abantu basezimoteni zenu alihambi liyokwenza yena lento enziwa ngabantu bekhaya ukuthi uyathola emncwabeni sokugcwele.
Mayithi Nembini, muchiripo kaparunhara?
Ndiripo.
Takatarisa ngatitarisei kuti lockdown iri kuitika muno muAmerica toienzanisa neiri kuitika kuZimbabwe. zvii zvakaitika munomu zvamakaona imini palockdown payakatanga chaipo munana Machu?
Zvandakaona zvakaitika munomu ndezvekuti vanhu vakamhanya kunostoka mabasics mumba. Tine mafiriji ekuisa zvinokasika kushata, tine nzvimbo dzacho dzekustowa zvinhu like mapaper towel, magroceries akawanda.
Nematishu ndiwo akatanga kumhanya.
Nematishu ndiwo akamhanya. Ndochizvitarisa manje kuti isusu tiri kukwanisa kutenga zvinhu izvozvi tichiisa mumba. Munhu ari kumusha haazvikwanisiba, hazvigonekeba nevakawanda ruzhinji. Kune vashoma vanozvikwanisa, asi ruzhinji harusi kuzvikwanisa. Pane zvandakazwa handizive zvangu kuti zvinenge zviri chokwadi. Zimwe nguva shoko rinofamba risiri chokwadi. Wakavhura TM supermarket, vanhu vakashoko rikafamba kuti kwaTM kwakavhurwa, kwaTM kwakavhurwa. Wakafloka kuenda kuTM kuti wanotenga zvekudya. Wakasvika kubatana nemasoja ikoko vakarohwa zvisingaite nemapurisa. Ndakazvitarisa izvozvo ndakati inini uku ndiko kukanganisa. Dai wavhura wataurira vanhu veTM kuti vharai TM musavhure kuitira kuti vanhu vasauye. Zvino wakati supermarket ngaivhure, vanhu voti vaenda kunotenga vorohwa. Handichanzwisisa kuti zvinenge zvichireva chinyi. I don't understand that. Kumusha kwanesa chekudya, they live from hand to mouth. Chekudya hapana. Saka zvinobva zvaita dambudziko rakanyanya. Dzimwe nguva tikavatumira $50 yacho, vanototi hatina kwekutenga kwacho nekuti hatisi kubvumidzwa kubuda. Saka zvinobva zvanetsa kunetsesesa. Ndakaona imwe musi pama-TV apa pa-YouTube vachidimolisha mbari yese, kudhirisa zvese. Apa umwe munhu akamira kuti ndiriwo upenyu hwake ihwohwo. Chiganginya ichocho ndo chaanototengesera kuti aone chekudya. Zvakashata futi kuti vakaramba vakavhura vachiramba vachifamba kudaro chirwere chinotikishira. Asi chikuru ngechekuti ndinofunga dai zvaigoneka vanhu vaitambiriswa kuti chekudya ichi mune madrive through ekuti munoenda hamutombobuda mumota mongopiwa pakeji yenyu mobva matoenda futi madrive away ine chikafu munosvika munotoita 2 meals kudya masikati nemanheru. Zvino kumusha kwedu hazvigoneke nepovhati iriko, asi ndiri kuona kuti nzara ndiyo yakuwadza vanhu kumusha. Chirwere chabva chatoita wesi nenyaya yenzara yagara iriko nekare nekuti havachagoni kubuda. Musuno takaona vhidhiyo yaizi vanhu vari kurohwa pabroadcast yepana Simon Mazorodzi paya. Musatombopfuura nepo kurohwa munhu zvekuti nenyaya yacho yekungodzidzisa vanhu nekurova ina handinzwisise zvangu. Dzimwe nguva mukavataurira nemuromo kuti aiwa musauye mukazouya futi ndikakuonai futi pano wokoyo. Zvino vakangoti vadhumana nazvo vasiri kumbozvifungidzira, vasina kumbodaidzirwa kunzi musapfuure nepapa, musafambe kudai. Zvinobva zvashusha pfungwa kuti zvinoita seiko. Ameno kuonawo kwangu mazvita.
Asiwo social responsibility yekuti iwewe unge uchizvitarisa pache zvako, because kana imo muno muAmerica macho pane vamwe vari kugara mudzimba, asi pozoitawo vechidiki ava vakawanikwa vari kumabhichi kuFlorida senguva ino yesama. Vanhu vanoda kuita mapati, vanoda kuenda kumaholiday. Munoona here vanhu vachikoshesa kuzvichengetedza utano hwavo iko kuno kuAmerica pamwe chete nekuZimbabwe?
Vanhu vekuno vanhu vekuno kuAmerica chokwadi kubvira kuti taakuenda kubichi musingaite social distancing, hamuna kana mamaski, muri kuenda zvenyu kunofara makaguta madya. Tozozwa kuti manhamba akwira, kunana Florida ikoko nekumapenda kumapabhu ndakatomboona handizivi kuti iArizona here yanga ichitoita suu magavhuna kuti mwatiti tivhare sei, we want 10 million tivhare mapabhu edu sei nemanight club edu sei, we want 10 million. Panguva yakaoma kudai uri kuda kuvhura pabhu, dai kutoda kuvhura grocery store kuti vanhu vatenge vaone chekudya. Zvino kufara kwacho kwehwahwa uku vanokuti furikidzei nguva yacho tichafara kana denda rafura. Dai tamboteedza zvekuti tiite safe, tisarware nechirwere ichi chisachipararira. Tochitarisawo kumusha, hakuna zvaana bichi izvozvo. Kutaura chokwadi tichitarisa kumusha idambudziko chairo. Inini vandiri kuona vari kufamba kuita kutoda kuti vatsvage chekuraramisa. Ndakazwa umwe achiti unogara mumba uri kuona mwana ari kuridza mhiri kuti ndafa nenzara, amugarike mumba macho, hamuna kana chekuti mai vabiki. Unobuda kana uine tunzungu wototi regai ndinotengesa, kana uine tumagaba twidoitwa wakakuya kuti regai ndinotengesa pamwe ndingadzoke nechingwa. Social distancing yekumusha neyemuno zvakasiyana. Kumusha wane tariro yekuti pamwe ndingaone dhora ndikatenga chingwa chitoenda nacho kumba. Kumunomo wari kutoitawo zvekutotamba kuda kufara. Zvinosiyano yacho yandiri kuona.
Aiwa, tinotenda. Star.
Yes, if you could just explain what you are saying, and then we can interpret.
Yeah, I was asking her what she had seen here in America compared to what is happening in Zimbabwe. She was basically saying here in America, there was a total lockdown and people managed to stock on foodstuffs as well as paper towels and tissues. For some reasons, the tissues were the ones that ran out most when we started the lockdown in early March. And she was comparing with Zimbabwe, saying, here we have the electricity, we have the fridges to be able to store food so that it stays longer. But in Zimbabwe, there's also the challenge of power cuts, and people, the ordinary people, don't have the money to be able to buy food in bulk to stock in the fridge or in the pantries. So it was really a challenge. It wasn't a really lockdown because people were flocking to the cities to go and buy some food, to the supermarkets. And at the same time, they also faced the challenge of being beaten up by the security forces. Was also saying in Zimbabwe is very difficult in normal circumstances. Now it has been exacerbated by this COVID-19.
okhonapha eMelika ukuthi i-lockdown le yokuvikela kwenqabela ukumemetheka kwegciwane le-COVID-19 yehluke kakhulu kule ekhaya nxa siqhathanisa lalapha emazweni, ngoba abantu abaningi bengalanto eziningi zokusebenzisa. Sesikhuluma amafriji, ukuthi beqandise ukudla kwabo, lokutholakala nje kwezinto njengoba sibonile-ke sasikhuluma-ke kunsuku ezidluleyo lenyanga ezidluleyo ukuthi abantu bagcwala emavinkilini bedinga impuphu, bedinga lokhu lalokhuyana, ukudla okusilelayo. Kodwa ngapha emazweni uyakuthola nje ukugcwalisa endlini ukufake lapho ofisa khona. Njalo siyakwazi ukuthi kulalokho ukuthi umuntu uyathenga ebulenjini okuthiwa i-online buying, kusuke le delivery uyathenga-ke bekuqhubele-ke khonapho. Kwaqalisa-ke kungani kuyaphithizela, abantu abaningi bekugijimela, kodwa kathesi-ke abantu sebekujayela sokusala kulezi khenxa ukuthi lawe nje ungathola uthenga okufunayo kulethwe khonapha nje uzihlalele uthenga ngobulembu. Yikho-ke lokho abade besitshela khona. Sesibuya kuwe njalo Nkosazana Nekevani, ungathini ngokukhulunywa ngomunye umhlonitshwa wethu lapha lokunye nje la ukubonayo kuyingxaki okuphathelane labesifazana nabantwana ngesikhathi lesi ese-lockdown.
Yeah, uqinisile umhlonishwa kuyafana lapha kwathi kuqala kusitshela ukuthi kuyaqala next week. Abantu they went to the shops and wiped the shops out. Noma betshela ukuthi ama-supermarket awavalwa, abantu bastoka. Even now, I think I still have got ukudla engakuthenga that particular time okunye vele lokunye engakudingiyo ngoba wasuzama ukusupplementa kuphela like i-rice. By that time there was a time around ama-supermarket angu-5 uswele i-rice yonke indawo, labo pasta ama-tissue vele I think ngokwani ukuthi bazathi tshela ukuthi inela abantu befinye belahlele ebhimu. So I think into leyana yalokhu yastikhayo kakhulu than anything else. Abantu ama-tissue babethenga angathi aphuma ku-fashion. So that was the thing. And kuliqiniso ukuthi ekhaya abantu abaningi uphovu ufana lami lawe, they can't afford ukuthenga i-surplus. If noma belayo imali beholile namhlanje ilokhuze niqale kusasa, ngeke akwazi ukuhamba ayethenga ama-20 kg angu-2 yena vele besidla 1 ngenyanga. Uzothenga nalaba vele beyidla ngoba imali yakhe kwana khonokho. Okokuthi na kusiyaphela isikhathana esincane ke sofuna ukuthi ayethenga ezinye izinto, imali yakho niyabe ngasekho. So naso kufika vele ukuthi balokhuze baye emashop. Akula system efana nathi ngapho ukuthi bamakilele phansi ukuthi lingasondelelani. So bonke abantu bachaya ivikoroni besiyathenga izinto zakhona. Even lamabhasi wona la kuthiwa kuhamba wona la ayezupco like eBulawayo. Somebody engimazi watshontshela ifoni ngevikoroni emabhasini wona la kodwa kufanele ukuthi beyilo kube social distancing. Vela ngeke wafana amazwe ethu amaningi lase-Africa ukuthi bazolandela. But into esifisa nje kuphela ukuthi babeyazi ukuthi lento iyabulala. Wonke umuntu abe careful, wonke umuntu abe cautious ukuthi kufanele ingasondeli kakhulu komunye umuntu ngoba khonokho kukhona. Enokubuhlungu ikhonokho ukuthi even into ezisimple ezifana nama-mask zenesi, unless bezithungela or bethatha amalokhuzena amalembu kuphela amaqhiye bebopha, they don't have access to them ngoba ayadura. Even ona la amalembu ayenziwayo ayadura ngoba noma uzothiwa $2 or kuthiwe $1, $1 umuntu akalayo. Isinkwa silesa $1 bafiwe abantu abasitholayo, and omama I think yibo abathwele nzima kakhulu. Ukuthi kulale kudliwe ekhaya, umama ngokufanele akwazi ukuthi namhlanje mphekani. But umama naye ngasakwazi ukuhamba ayethengisa emarket, amatamatisi ayevele wathengisa. Akusela kudla imali ebuyayo endlini ukuthi bahambe bayethenga impuphu yakhona. Kunzima kakhulu. Then naso kufika ebantwaneni, abantwana bafundi sebetshona besekhaya. I think sikhangelane lobunzima obukhulu. Mina I always think ukuthi after this I'm just imagining ukuthi kuzoba njani. Ngoba masikhangele khathesi abantwana bahlele ekhaya. Abantwana bahlele ekhaya bayakhula. Right now sibala ukuthi siku 3 months or so bengafundi. Kusiyaphela i6 months abantwana babangafundi kuzoyenzakalana. Abaningi ngesikhathi kusiyaphela khona abantwana babebeleziswa. Iqiniso esingeke silibalekelele lelo, especially abasemakhaya bonaba. Iqiniso esingeke silibalekelele lelo ukuthi izikolo ziyaba protector in a way ngoba kulento ayicabangayo khathi kodwa akakhathesa kulanto ayicabangayo. And uya imagine ukuthi umntwana right now into achone yenza kuyena. Abasemakhaya abala access to amalokhu zama resources. Mebhakala le textbook kuphela ukuthi azama ukwenza ezinye izinto. But vele yona imotivation mina ngakhulele ekhaya ngakhuliswa ngugogo. Okungangukuthi mina ngikhumbula nisekhaya izikolo zivaliwe kwakuthiwa bala ibhuku. So in that sense I know ukuthi that lokhuzeni indlela engakhula ngayo lamanje yisasebenza ebantwini bemakhaya. So I think sesithembele kuNkulunkulu okuzoyenzeka kuphela, otherwise i-future at the moment is very bleak.
Mango. Regai nditore mukana wekuti ndinge ndichipa maichi nembiri minute rimwe chete kuri 0 yamungasiyire muri yeZimbabwe, vari kuZimbabwe nevari pasi rose, kuti nekurudziro yezve COVID-19 iyoyi.
Mazvita ndingangoti ndinokurudzira vanhu kuti vachengetedze zvinenge zvichitaurwa kuti itai social distancing, pfekai mamaski. Nyangwe zvazvo zvichinesa kuZimbabwe kwacho vachida chikafu, asi zvakakosha kuti vateedze mutemo, nekuti vasakadaro vanongorwara futi neCovid yacho yoramba ichispreada, achirapike, hatisati ane mishonga. Saka kwakutoteerera zvinenge zviri kutaurwa pasi rese kuti dai tamboteerera zviri kutaurwa nevana mukoti vanoziva mishonga zvemishonga machiremba aya. Totomboteerera toramba takateerera kusvika chirwere chapera.
Yebo ke siyabonga isikhathi asavumi kube siqhubeke sisonke. Kodwa singakehlukanisi akunika i-30 seconds nje inkosazana nekevani ukuthi usitshele ukuthi abantu abangabe befuna ukuncedisa kunhlanganiso yakho balithola ngaphi, lingaphi, abantu basiza njani, ukuhamba njani?
Sifuna ukuncedisa iMopane Foundation, khathesi i-office yethu ise-Richmond. EZimbabwe ungathintana loSiphiwe Nala, nguye u-admin wethu. Inamba yakhe ngu-078 566 7402. Mangabe ufuna ukuthi okay imphindi inamba 078 566 7402. Mawufuna ukuthintana nami e-England nguNomsanekevane, ikhodi yethu ngu-044 7450 287082. Imphindi number 074 50287082. Ikhodi ngu-44 e-UK. Siyabonga.
Nguva dzedu dzadyana. Tinokutendai vese manga muri pachirongwa. Mai Chinembiri mungaoneka vateereri.
Mazvita tinokutendai nekuteerera. Mwari vakuchengetedzei Mazvita.
Yebo. Ini ndine Princess Jeremiah. Chiti ngatisanganei zvekare mune zvimwe zvirongwa.
Lami usithandekile Mhlanga, sibonga bonke ke ade besixhasa lamhla kuhlelo lwethu lo nkosazana Nomsanekevana wenhlanganiso yeMopane Foundation. Isithi sihlanganeni njalo ngoLwesine oluzayo.